Well, basically, this is going to be part of, I don't know how many segments it's going to take to do this, but the idea is because it's going to be too long to do in one segment. But the idea is I want to go from what I do to prepare a file, a raw file in this case, in Lightroom for, well, it could end up going into Photoshop. In this case, it's going to be with the NIK filters, and NIK I'm calling it because Nick just sounds like Nick at Night to me. Well, maybe I'll call it Nick. But anyway, okay, so now I'm rambling on. This is a shot that was done at night. Obviously, it's the reservoir in Central Park. You can see most of what might be of interest. It's, I think, it was an older camera, 1600 ASA, 20 millimeter lens. It's a crop sensor. It was on a tripod, 2.5 second exposure. That doesn't have a lot to do with where I'm going to go next, but the basic idea for me in the beginning, and here we're looking at the raw file as it first came in to Lightroom without any presets, and I want to try to save as much data as I can before I go into NIK. So the first segment is really just going to be about how to prepare the file for whatever it is you're going to do next. And this part of it, it doesn't matter if you can end up doing a color version or a black and white version. It's just really kind of what do you do to clean the thing up. And again, I have to say, I'm sure everybody has a different way of approaching this, but for me, it's sort of, I want to just preserve as much data as I can, and I also don't want to have sharpening done at this point because I'm going to end up doing it later anyway, not in Lightroom. So I always pull down the sharpening first. Some of this could be done if you made a preset, and I have one, but there's no point in showing that because then you wouldn't see all the details that go into it. But okay, so I'm going to pull the sharpening down. I am going to go to the camera calibration, which at the time when it was shot was Adobe Standard. All of this makes a very big difference in terms of what you can save. For example, if you look at the histogram, you'll see it change dramatically when I go to neutral. Sorry, I didn't mean to click on that. That's something I don't feel like going into right now. So look at the difference between standard, where you see a bunch of things falling off the left side, which is the blacks. And I'm going to go to Faithful just as an example. Again, it's a lot easier to deal with. So well, each one is different, and it's good depending on the image. But basically, as I say, I've already sort of solved the problem of whatever was falling off of the left side. I want to go up. I know that a lot of this stuff is highlights or specular highlights, and I want to see how much I can kind of save. And there's a couple of ways of fooling around with that. And always in digital, it's always the highlights in digital as opposed to film that are the problem. And there are things in Lightroom that will help you bring this highlight down so that you may be able to get some detail in it. I'm going to pull this recovery slider over a bit. And again, this is experimenting. I don't want to go too far with the bringing down the brightness because I'm going to start losing things if I go too far on the left side. So I'm going to pull it down a little bit. I'm going to pull down the exposure a little bit. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I can see this is going to end. This guy here is going to end up being a problem. I don't have a solution for that right now. But I'll pull him down. Okay, fine. Next thing is the color balance is totally whacked out. As shot is not even close. Okay, blue sky, blue water, relatively close. There's detail in this area, which is good. Of course, if you look at it, you'll also see not a. I mean, for pixel peeping, I mean it's not terrible for 1600. But the next step in this is going to be to clean up, the image in with NIK. I'm not going to do that with the Lightroom stuff. So I'm going to end up after this going into the. Oh, I forgot one more thing. I'm going to go to this guy and turn this into linear. Again, I'm trying to flatten everything out, save as much data as I can, and I'm not really successful right now with this guy, but I may bring him down at the end of this. So let's just go over it again. The purpose, or at least for me, of step one is to try to save as much data as I can so I can work with it later. So I've got sharpening is off, and I went to camera calibration, and I have a reasonable image at this point, a starting point. The next step is, I'll just go quickly into this, will be I right-click on this. My system is set up so, because I'm an old PC guy, even though I'm on a Mac right now, but it's set up to take me to edit, and I would go to define to, and that's going to basically be the next chapter in these video posts. Ciao for now. Ciao for now. Okay.